Namaskar, good afternoon. I am Dr. Mitoo from Discipline of Anthropology, School of Social Sciences. Today I will be discussing with our learners, with you all, on a topic called Navigating Contemporary Digital Spaces in Anthropological Research. This forms the part of our course, which is a core course called Money 001, which deals with research methodology in anthropology in our master's program. And I believe that with the changing global scenario, with things changing at a rapid speed, our ways of researching is also changing. Our physical space, which is so important to us, where we inhabit, where we live our daily lives, where we, indulge in so many different ways of human behavior, is changing. It is no more just our physical space that we inhabit, but it is now also a space which we call the digital space. And this space also, acquires and has that equal importance that we would give or address our physical space. Why is it so, and how has it become that our digital space has also become equally important or equally relevant as our physical space? As human beings, along with being a physical, biological being, we are also social creatures. We inhabit society in our physical, biological spaces. We inhabit society where we behave in a way which we would call culture, where we, behave in a particular manner which is influenced by our customs, our values, our norms, our rules and regulations, which we have learned as social beings. But this is what I'm trying to bring forth, that this space which we have always indulged in, which we have lived in as part of a biological being, as part of a social being, is rapidly changing. This new space which I am talking about, the digital space, has so much to offer. Today, I will therefore be discussing how to research, how to, use the ethnographic research methodologies that you have as a student learned to research your physical field space, to utilize it in the digital space. And in this, I will be taking into consideration three areas or three arenas which can help you utilize your knowledge of anthropological know-how, anthropological methodology to navigate these spaces. Yes, learners, I'm talking about artificial intelligence, I'm talking about social media, and I'm also talking about the virtual world where games are played. But what are these spaces? How do these spaces, inform us about our behavior? How do these spaces are so relevant that they influence our behavior? So taking this as our main agenda today, let's move forward and try to understand what is it that we are trying to talk about in this session. So we as anthropologists try to always investigate new things or contemporary things, or with an association with what has been happening in the past, how it is connected to the present, and how it can help us live our lives in the future. In this, as I have said, many aspects are dealt with, and so is the digital space, which has become so relevant in our lives. Today, to understand how lives are being led, how lives are being lived in these digital spaces, it is equally important for us as researchers, for you as learners of anthropology, to become so expert in this field that you are able to engage yourself in this global scenario. You have to try to become innovative thinkers, innovative learners who can access this world and come up with new ideas to search for, to research for these areas, and see how we are, as part of physical world, are equally part of this digital virtual world. So today, as I said, we will be discussing three areas: artificial intelligence, virtual games and virtual worlds, and also lastly social media. So learners, let us first take into consideration artificial intelligence. Now, what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence, which is known simply as AI, is nothing but technology which has been designed, which is used in computing, which come with algorithms which are designed to make our lives easier. We use it in a daily basis. On a daily basis, we use them in social medias, we use them while online shopping, we use them while navigating maps. Everything that is got technology has AI in it. But how is AI relevant in our world? Well, to do so, we can do a research as learners of anthropology, as learners who are living in this present world. We need to know how ethnographic learning can be utilized in researching the artificial intelligence. So to begin with, we can do participant observation. We can observe how human beings behave while using AI, what they think about while using AI, what are their requirements. We can do so by taking help of interviews, and what are their concerns. And all this can be done through using our research methodologies, our ethnographic research methodologies, which can help us know more about how AI can be used or are being used in our everyday world, everyday life, and what is the significance of AI in our lives. If you see, when I say how we are living a new life, which is side by side, simultaneously being led along with our physical lives, it is because, if you have noticed, and I am sure you must have, we are more or less always involved with our smartphones on a daily basis, where we are, living our lives in a way where either we are, as I just said, doing online shopping, or we are trying to, utilize it on a basis where we are trying to navigate streets, we are using maps, we are trying to book tickets online, we are trying to view a social world via social platforms like Instagram or Facebook. There are so many things that we are doing, and when we are doing such things, we are being influenced without knowing or unknowingly, we are being influenced by the kind of lives that we live, the kind of cultural lives that we live, which are associated with the lives that we have learned how to live. So to say, if we want to make or understand how AI is a part of our lives, we need to research about not just what I just talked about, how human beings behave while using AI, what are their concerns. It's also about how AIs are being designed. Anthropologists or you learners can also understand, try to find out by interviewing people who are involved in the designing of AI algorithms, to see if they are designed in a way which are inclusive. It's very important that AI designing should be inclusive. When I say this, I talk about things like, say, an AI technology offers facial recognition, or another AI technology or a tool gives you offers you translation of languages. But are they friendly enough that they include all kinds of languages that that you would like to look into, or they are just specific languages that you find in that app? So you as a researcher can find out how these can be made more inclusive by including all kinds of languages and dialects that exist in our country, or for that matter, when we involve ourselves in recognizing a face or utilizing, say, let me give you an example of WhatsApp. When you use a WhatsApp, there is this option of using an avatar, which can become your WhatsApp profile picture. So when you go into creating the avatar, is it inclusive enough that it has all kinds of skin color? Is it inclusive enough to have all kinds of hair shapes? So these kind of small but very important considerations are needed to be taken into our understanding of how AI can be also made in design in a way which can be inclusive, which can be culturally sensitive, which can help us live in a world where technology can also give us the opportunity to do away with hierarchy. So when we do research on AI, we can also look into such things, and also look into things like do away with biases and prejudices that can arise also with the kind of skewed imagination, if at all, a designer may have. So a researcher can help by involving himself or herself in such kind of scenarios and bring out what is required in in the creation of AI technologies. Other than that, we also need to look into the ethics of AI. How are they ethically relevant? How are they being ethically viewed? So in this case, say for example, data backup which is done in the context of patients in a healthcare system. So how are these data being represented? Are they transparent? Are they available to each and everyone? Or do they take into care the privacy of the patient? So these kind of small things can also be looked into while designing AI tools. These, along with the ethical considerations, other things that come in where an anthropologist or a learner of anthropology can get into is how can policies or strategies be framed by governments or civil bodies. So in this scenario, the learner who is researching AI technology can come up with ideas where after researching, the learner can see that inclusivity is taken care of, which I have spoken about already. Transparency can be taken care of. Privacy needs to be taken care of, and accountability. These are small things but very important things which need to be taken care of by policymakers while designing AI tools for the benefit of the society. So when we talk of education, when we talk of rural development, when we talk of the healthcare system which indulge in the usage of AI technology, these kind of researchers a student can involve himself or herself in, a learner of anthropology can involve herself or himself in, to bring about interesting inputs and bring about interesting and relevant changes in how society use AI technology. So moving on, after a small discussion that I have given you about artificial intelligence, we can now look into the world of virtual games and virtual worlds. Now, this is a very new and interesting space that we have, and it is totally uncharted. It has not been researched in a very elaborate way. Even now, when people and when investigators are researching this world, they have not been able to get into the depths of it. But this is a very vibrant space, an interesting space. It is so much like the physical space that we inhabit, or the physical space that you go to conduct your fieldwork in. And when you do or conduct an ethnographic study, what are the concerns that you go with, or what are the things that you expect to see? Cultural practices, cultural norms and beliefs, customs, the way people behave. And if the same thing is brought into the virtual world through a process of what we can call as virtual games, it becomes more interesting, more innovative to see how this can be investigated or researched. So when I say virtual games, there are various worlds where human beings indulge to involve themselves via games. For example, the Second Life, Warcraft, these kind of games, Minecraft, these are games which allow human beings to participate in a world which is not real, which is not physical, but a world which is designed completely in the virtual space. So for a learner of anthropology, if a learner enters this space, what would the learner want to know? What would the learner want to research in this space? Well, for example, the Second Life, it has, if you enter the space, you will realize as a participant, as a player, you realize that there is a whole community inside it. A community which has got different areas. It may have a rural space, it may have an urban space. There are properties that people are selling, there are properties that people are buying, and this goes on for real. And then, people involved in various kind of activities in this world. In Minecraft, we see that, people, gamers are building spaces. In a game called Fortnite, we find that people have to think strategically. They have to use their mind in a very in a cognitive way, which can help them, come up with strategies to win the game. And in it, you will also find that they are with a team of players where they are communicating with these members. So learners, these spaces can therefore be seen as cultural spaces where human beings are behaving not in the physical world but in their virtual world, where they are communicating with each other, where they are living their lives. And therefore this becomes a very interesting area to study, where we find where we try to find how this world exists. So there are many pros in this area. You can see that people are able to develop their sense of camaraderie, they are developing sense of brotherhood with each other, they are building new kinds of social relationships. At the same time, there is harassment going on, there can be cyberbullying. So one end, maybe you will end up seeing teamwork, at the other end you will see some kind of bullying. So these are the areas which can interest you to study about how virtual worlds exist. It can also have an effect on health. So at the same time, if you're trying to study or investigate health in a virtual world, you will see that the physical health and the mental health are equally important in this space. Physical health is that if you are giving too much time to such a space, then you may have headaches, you may have strain in your eyes, and the mental health that can be affected is that you may have too much stress, you may have anxiety. So, and then there can be there is always a pro and there is always a con. That the pros can be that you are being creative, you are creating strategically, you are creating innovatively, and at the same time you are being addicted, you are spending more time in this virtual world than your real space. So these are various parts which you can indulge in and where you can investigate and you can show your acumen in research. After this, we come to another area and the last area in today's discussion, that is anthropology of social media. Now, this is, I believe, a space which you all inhabit in various ways and may find it the most, the space which is most relevant or most known to you. So this is where the spaces like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all these spaces come into play. The kind of world that has been built in spaces like Facebook, Instagram is the kind of world which we think we are very, very acquainted with. This world gives us so many possibilities to do research in, because if you see how they exist, the kind of reality that they portray to everyone is very exciting in today's scenario. So as a researcher, what do we do then? Number one, we try to understand how social lives are created, just like the way social lives are created in the virtual worlds through virtual games. Similarly, here too, social realities are created, communications are made, relationships are built, and networking professions are also equally built. So what do we observe is that how is it done? Say, let's just take the example of Instagram. There are individuals who post photographs or videos on an everyday basis. They post stories and reels on an everyday basis. They share things like their expertise in cooking, home decor, fashion. So many things are being portrayed on Instagram. In this, the viewer or us, the audience, when we are observing them, we also get influenced by how the Instagrammers are behaving. We as participants, we are extremely participants, to the T here. And as a researcher, the methodology of participant observation would not be difficult at all, because we are actually participating. So as a researcher, if we want to research the social media spaces like Instagram, we build a relationship with one of the pages if we are interested. So for example, say if we are interested in food and we want to know more about food, so we just start building a space, building ourselves, communicating with food platforms that we see on Instagram, and we start investigating how these platforms work. if we want to know about what meanings are being conveyed through photographs of a particular person, or an influencer, what these photographs are trying to tell us, what the videos are trying to tell us, we can investigate. Through these investigations, we can find out how the new digital world is being created, how we are equal participants in this digital world, and our life is no more limited to a physical world. So this is a very exciting space to research in, and not just researching the person or a group of people creating content. We can also research ourselves as participants of this platform, where we are also building various kinds of relationships, the kind of cultural expressions that we are portraying, the kind of engagements that we are involved in. All these can be beautifully researched. So learners, these are some of the ways that we are trying to enter into a new world of research, where we are trying to engage ourselves with this digital space in various ways, and we are trying to involve ourselves. In fact, recently, one of my students who was researching about mental health used the Instagram platform to conduct interviews, and she posted various small interview questions related to her interviews, and she communicated via the platform using this platform through talk to people. And also she gave content where she posted, do you believe in this, or do you agree with this, yes, no, and the number of percentage she created with it, she brought out a very interesting paper from it. So yes, learners, these 3 spaces that I've talked about today, that I'm still indulging in, are very exciting spaces, and I would urge all of you to enter this space along with the traditional normative fieldwork that you conducted, that you involve yourself in. That is equally relevant, but how this new space has come about, and how this new space is a space which we also now have to accept is part of our living reality, a part of our lived experiences, and therefore very important ethnographically, very important anthropologically. So learners, this is what I wanted to share with you today. And as students of MANI 001, which is the core course of anthropological research, I hope that these spaces would interest you, this session with me today would encourage you to take up projects or take up research in these spaces. I believe if there are any questions, you can write to me at my address mitoodas@ignou.ac.in. And with this, I close this session. Thank you so much for listening.